Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classics known classics. This episode number 3523, Doubleshot number 3417. Well, we're here discussing issues from the Detective Comics 180 to 199, along with Batman 66 to 85. So, Detective Comics in this period of time had not one, not two, not three, but four features. You had, of course, Batman, who features issue 27. There's also the character Robot Man. No, not related to the character, which was a completely different character, Robert Crane. His whole thing is that he's a scientist who basically, because he was near death anyways, he transfers his brain to a robot that he built, and the world thinks that the man is dead, but he's in light of his body. It's a similar backstory when the case with Cliff Steele in the Roman for Doom Patrol. It's a very similar one, except basically it's a silver body. And most of the he fights other people, other kind of like basically various bad guys. Powwow Smith. Yes, Powwow Smith. Indian lawman, which you read these stories, like, you can kind of see why DC has chosen, still to this day, to never collect their stories. Because they're a bit racial. Yes. Yeah. Though, by the way, also this character popped up on Justice League Unlimited. And he was called Powwow Smith. And he hated the name. He thought it was racist. He heard about his actual name in the show. Basically for him, it's a lot of like Western type stories, which I don't find the stories to be terrible. It's just that they're not really like noteworthy stories. But the Batman ones, oh yes. Oh, by the way, Roy Ramos does this normal thing of like debunking famous people like as hoaxes. Basically, people have these elaborate schemes and they're probably fake. So, in the case of these Detective Comic issues, well, there's a lot of noteworthy stuff happening over the course of the issues. First of which, we have in Detective Comics 180, we have the story Joker's Millions, a very famous Detective Comics story that was adapted for the Batman animated series in the episode Joker's Millions. So, Joker gets this money, which turns out to be fake, he finds later on. Though in the actual episode, they actually are liquid in the episode. And like in the case of the episode itself, yeah, finds out it's fake, has to pay insurance tax, which that's what normally basically people do if they have a big inheritance like this. But by the end, he gets his money back anyways, but it's a really fun story. It's not as long as the actual, it's really short, surprisingly. It goes by really quickly, but it's a really fun story. I love this story. And you can find this story, collected in the Joker Celebration 75 years. By the way, you have David Von Reed and Dick Spring in the artwork. But what about 181? 181 basically is a guy fights a guy called the Human Magnet. Yeah, very odd story, and it's done by Bill Finger and art by Jim Mooney. It's not really a noteworthy story. 182, you have Batman fighting each other because of a character known as the Puppet Master. Yeah, 2 issues of one-shot characters. Yeah, Bob Kane returns with this one with co-writing, basically doing an issue with Bill Finger. Probably first time since like the start of the character back in the 30s. With Lou Schwartz on the co-artwork. Of course, Bill Finger on the writing here. Then we have 183, and I read this story, and it feels like this is like a loose remake of a Green Arrow story. You know, going at the famous people. Which, it was very interesting to say the least. Then we have 184. The debut of the Garfield Lenz. Yes, that's his last name, Garfield Lenz. Firefly. Yep. A classic Batman villain who still appears this very day. Yeah, as in the very same character who basically became a recurring villain in the Good Game arc, who also appeared Arkham. I think he appeared Arkham Knight. Yeah, and he also appeared in the animated series where he was it was no part technically in that one, but he was a guy who was obsessed with one woman. which they changed it from him being obsessed with fire, because under the suit, the man is literally the man is, well, let's just say people see him as sort of a ripoff of the character Heatwave from Flash, but he made his debut several years prior to Heatwave made his debut. But it was really interesting fact I come across this one. And by the way, his outfit is so goofy. Like nowadays, much more seriously, it's this gray outfit with two F's on it with rainbows. Yeah, no fire here like it is later. Oh no. And then 185, yeah, all about utility belt. Secret roots of Batman's utility belt. Like, okay. You can find the story collected in Batman 50s. Which I enjoyed that one. Yes. 186. The whole thing, this one is debut of the one-shot thing known as the Flying Batcave. Yeah, they explained the story that Batman couldn't do any crime in Gotham City for a week because of Rob being taken. But by the end, they do catch the criminals who appear in the story. But it's a really interesting standalone story, especially the whole idea of a flying Batcave. A concept that I don't think I ever revisited. Not that I know of. 187. We have debut of a one-shot Two-Face. Yes, during the Golden Age, there was more than one Two-Face. Aside from Harvey Dent, who originally was known as Harvey Kent, we had three other Two-Faces who basically have some backstories. So we have the third imposter of Two-Face, a guy named George Blake. Maybe you think he was Harvey Dent, but nope, he's not him. Wrong side of his face. But it is very interesting that we have a Two-Face story here. Now, is it collected some trade paperback? It is. It's actually in Two-Face, A Celebration in 5 Years, and Batman in the 50s. Yeah, this issue also collected, I think it was like Batman Golden Age Omnibus. I think it was like volume 8. Yeah. Then we have Doom in the Batcave, 188. Yeah. Where criminals actually find the Batcave. No credit writer for this one, but really fun story for this one. 4. Next, 189. Yeah, and escape from an undersea hideout. Basically, escape from a submarine with a bunch of one-shot villains. Bill Finger, Dick Spring. 190. How to Be Batman. Yeah, it's more basically it's pretty much basically another retelling of Batman's origin story. Yes. Originally it was known as Park Row. That was originally it was identified in flashback as a retcon that did pop up in the story, despite the fact it was identified as Crime Alley until Detective Comics 457. You can thank Denny O'Neil for creating that particular concept of Crime Alley. Well, name anyways. 191, License to Kill. We have basically a criminal as the executioner, which Batman tries to stop him. Also, no credit writer. And then we have a criminal, who basically breaks in the Batcave, making the second one of these issues to do it. But don't worry, he gets rewarded. 93, a Joker story about Joker's Journal. Yep. Oh, don't worry, there's a famous Joker story we'll talk about in a minute. Then we have the Stolen Bank in 194. Yep, stop a bunch of bank robbers. 195, the original Batman. Yeah, the whole thing in this guy is that he claims he was Batman because he basically licensed years ago. Apparently, he did exploits outside of Gotham City, but basically they find a loophole. Yeah, he doesn't own a trademark at all. Well, not for inside Gotham City. The real Batman holds that. But it's a nice idea. 196. This one basically is like, a city out guns. Yeah, where basically Batman goes to London for an issue. Okay. And then we have 197, Lee Gets Batman. Where I take out a guy called Wrecker. Yes. Who actually appeared more than once. Yep. He would not appear again until Just Like America 41. He is relatively a minor villain. In 198, yes, Batman goes to Scotland for an issue. Why not? 199, Batman goes visible. There's also a cameo here by the Mechanical Dinosaur. And that's it for Detective. I'd say a lot of the issues here are really good. But, oh boy, let's talk about basically Batman. And you're like, oh, I had to talk about this issue. Batman 66. Where basically the issue is notorious for Joker using the word boner. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's all basically being full of each other. Yeah, and Linkar did receive this for his own series. And people fail like John Dillinger, Douglas Corrigan, Late Night Pizza, the 1950 Missouri Grounding, and the Trojan Horse. It's a funny story, but it is bizarre to keep constantly hearing the word boner in the whole issue. It's so bizarre to say the least. And given this comic was released in 1951, I think it was that famous panel of seeing Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson allegedly sharing the same bed together. Despite making various panels, that is not the case. That was, like, people look at the panel very clearly, because this is the issue where that happened. So, pretty much basically, they're in separate beds. They don't share a bed together. That was, basically, it was in this particular era that it was alleged that Batman and Robin were in a homosexual relationship, and they didn't look at the panel clearly. They didn't see like this little line cutting right through the bed. It's like the alleged same bed together. Yeah, they're separate beds. They have for years. Yeah, this is the weird era they did this in. The backup story is basically a movie star who died twice. It's a Hollywood story. And then we have Elseworlds of Batman 2 and Robin Jr. Yeah, Sons of basically, well, it's basically Robin had a dream sequence. 67. The Mystery Rope. Yeah, just one-shot character. Then we have Joker pop up here, who writes, the guy who allegedly writes Joker's jokes. Oh, okay, so Lost Legion of Space, first appearance of Batman of 3051. Yeah, he is a descendant of Batman who only appears in, like, he doesn't really appear very much per se. Like, after this issue, you don't see him again until, like, issue 216 of Detective Comics. Yeah. Yeah. It's a really interesting idea. '68. The Atomic Cave Raiders. Yeah, basically trying to find the Batcave. This one they actually discovered Batcave, kind of, but then there's the Secret Life of Batman's Butler. Yeah, where basically this one Bruce Wayne fires Batman he fires Alpha for reasons, but he gets rehired at the end of the story. Yeah, and then we have 60. We have a debut of an actor who looks like Two-Face. Yeah, this was, I believe, like the second imposter of Two-Face. Yeah, by the way, Harvey Dent is not in the issue, but he does his surgery gets undone to fix his face. And then we have 69, where after dealing with gangsters, the opening story, Batman expose, where Batman exposed by a guy called the Blaze, a guy who uses a flamethrower. And then we have the backup story, the third one, where we debut the character King of Cats, who is in fact Catwoman's brother. Yes, seriously, her brother. Which, after this one appearance, he would not be ever seen again until Superman Family 211. By the way, Selena Kyle in the post Flashpoint and post credits continuity doesn't have brother. She has a sister, yes. No mention of brother. Yeah, he only gives us continuity. We have a robot cop fighting for Gotham, masterminds of crime, more gangsters. Then we have a story featuring the Penguin. Don't worry, next episode this features Penguin too. 71. Jail for Heroes. Yeah, Current puts Batman in jail for a story. And then we have a story featuring Commissioner Gordon. Then we have Mr. Cypher, who only appears one story. Yeah, a lot of these other characters are just one-shot characters. And aside from 6-6, is any like notorious characters? Then we have Jungle Batman, where Batman goes jungle for an issue. Yep, why not? The Faceless Man. Death Cheaters. Yeah, a lot of one-shot issues. But there is one issue in here where it basically starts the annoying trend of Batman meeting aliens in the Silver Age. And the reason I heard for this, because it was popular for Superman to do this. As a matter of fact, Batman is not Superman. So, the third story in the book is focused on Joker having his own utility, which is a really interesting idea. Now, was it adapted or anything? It was going to be collected for 6 TV stories. I think it was adapted for a 6 TV show, loosely adapted. But then we have Vicky Vale's Secret. Yeah, Vicky Vale. Oh, don't worry. When we come back to Batman, we'll be discussing her debut appearance. And she debuts well alongside another character. We have Crazy Time Clown. You think, is that a Joker story? It is. It definitely is. Yeah, just deal with Joker for it. He actually gets away. Then we have the movie Kill Batman. Okay. Walker on Mr. Hydro. Yeah. More one-shot characters. Right over here is one. Alvin Shorts, right? It's a Joker story. 75. Well, after with a one-shot character in the opening story, we have another one-shot character, but in the third story, we debut a Gorilla Boss of Gotham City. A character who doesn't really appear much per se. Yeah. Yeah, this was basically his debut appearance. He appeared a little more after this. But this is just an Earth 2 version of the character. Yeah, and they had the post-crisis appear in the pages of Midnighter. Yes, Midnighter. In a way, you can think of Gorilla Boss as basically Batman's version of Ultra Humanite. Except he didn't appear very much. 76. More of an issue where you fight one-shot characters. Fighting the Penguin. Moving on. Yeah, nothing really. Aside from the Penguins, we have not a lot really. We have debut character called Mr. Blank. Yes. Who only appeared in this one story. Is any of your like noteworthy stuff happens here? Well, in the case the opening story itself, well, this starts the annoying trend of Batman taking on aliens. Or at least meeting aliens. Yeah, this is the issue that starts the annoying trend. And then, of course, into the Mounties, the third story. And, yeah. 79. Bride of Batman, where basically Vicky Vale thinks she's married to Batman for an issue. The Batman Yesterday, another time travel story where Batman time travels to 18th century. And then we have Batman's a Gang Boss first story. Okay. Then we have Joker's Movie Crimes. Yes. Goes to Hollywood for an issue. Another Nightmare for Dick Grayson. A issue about dogs. Basically, one of them is still Machines and Menace, but basically is a robot. Yeah, it's like, yeah, let's do it a robot. It's like these later issues of Batman just not really noteworthy. 81, we deal with Two-Face. Yep. Yeah, it's the first appearance of the, I kid you not, the Earth 1 Two-Face. Yep. And the first giant coin itself, yeah, that was Lucy for Almost Got Him. 82. It just the issue becomes still okay, but nothing really noteworthy happens over the course of these later issues. Fake Batman. Yeah, it just... And then we have Catwoman pops up in one of the stories, Seriously Music Gotham City. Yeah, basically rid of these issues. Some of it just feel like a slog because it just feels like not a lot happens. Aside from, oh, let's have Batman fight one-shot characters a lot of the time instead of fighting his villains. Oh, look, it's basically 85 where Batman fights the Joker. They have Guardian of the Bat Signal. Okay. Basically the guy who activates the Bat Signal. Like, okay. That's very interesting. He only appeared one at a time. Actually, 2 at a time. See, his last appearance was in Brave and Bold in 187. Costume of Doom. Sorry. So, basically about a reunion. And at least the opening story has been collected in trade. And that's it. Yeah. I would say of the issues themselves, once again, Detective Comics, I found more interesting to Batman. There was a few noteworthy issues, but not a lot here per se with this one. So yeah, that's pretty much it to take a video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. Next up we have is Commander Zex. Okay, next video. Bye.